And we do provide analytical testing to the industry, and it's helped us really dial in the solution. But a lot of labs, especially analytical labs, thought of us as, oh, that's another lab, it's a competitor. We're not. We're an analytical data solution to help these labs, really streamline processes and interface with government on that level, and also with their clients. Creates a common language, because if we've got a solution at one of their clients using it for QA QC, what does this do? Well, if they have a CAN ID system.
Hey guys, it's Mandi with Global Hemp Association. I wanted to say thank you so much for joining. I'm excited about the opportunity to build a relationship and connect this supply chain. I mean, after all, that's why we started the association. Our association was built on the foundation of connecting supply chain, building relationships, and helping you grow your business. Anyone from farmers, manufacturers, and distributors, people that are passionate about the supply chain, and those creating products selling into biofuels, plastics, textiles, construction, and building materials.
Hello, everybody. Welcome. Thank you very much for joining us. Welcome. It's the first live interview that we've done since the first of the year. And so welcome, Cree. I'm really excited. Yesterday we had one that didn't work out, and I'm glad today is. So thank you very much for joining me.
I'm so honored. So honored to be here.
You're a rock star. I love it. Okay, so before we get started, I want to remind everybody really quick to please share and click the little button to subscribe and follow on our YouTube channel. Where our YouTube channel is growing. I can still see you. Can you hear me? No, you're good. Can you hear me now? I know our internet is a little bit wobbly. Are you okay, Cree?
I can. Mine's wonky too, but hey, we'll just keep going with it.
Okay, well, shoot. Well, I'm going to hand it over. Maybe I will shut off my camera so that you can. But I would love for an introduction, Cree. We'll just dive right in. Give us an introduction. Tell us a little bit about what you're working on.
Absolutely.
Can you hear us?
Don't turn off your video. Then I feel like I'm just talking. Hi. So my name is Crawford. It's really great to be here. It's an honor to be here. I started in the industry with the sister plant to hemp out in California, and I put together a number of collective grows for patients, and very much got immersed into the culture. Love it. The medicinal value of the cannabinoids from this plant is incredible. THC is just one. We're finding there's hundreds of them, and many of them are being explored now out in the public, and really exciting results. Testing became a really big requirement from the dispensaries when I was out there, and I was all for it, very excited. I have a little bit of a science background, and was very excited to see people taking it seriously. And California led that, and then soon after Colorado. And the only challenge was, at the time, it took almost a month and a half to get results back. And when you're trying to donate product and you can't donate it fast enough, you lose those opportunities. And so I recognized there was going to be a challenge in the industry as the industry matured and expanded. More testing was going to be required. And, one night I woke up and I said, I think I want to try to do something really impactful for the industry. And my concept was to have a testing solution that people could bring in-house. So a grower, an extractor, they could have these in-house, but it had to be backstopped by, I wanted it to be laboratory grade. I wanted it to be the same equipment that could be used in the lab, so there was going to be less discrepancy, because that's another challenge. People send in product and 3 times to test the lab, and it comes back 3 different results come back. So there's a lot of reasons for that. We zeroed in on potency being the first analyte to really, all those analytes to look at, because it was the most volumetric test. It's the test that's required for for quality control internally. So it's the most volumetric. And if you can bring that in-house, you save a lot of time, collapse time, and allow you to really run your operation more streamlined. So we started with potency. HPLC was the platform. High performance liquid chromatography was the solution we zeroed in on. But then it was like, how do you get scale for something that really, really smart people need run. And not saying there's not a lot of smart people out there, but if these are really complicated, operational devices, your scale kind of dwindles and you're not really supporting what the mission is. So we embarked on looking at becoming more of a software and data analytics solution. That's soft. So with the first solution that we have, which is potency, again, we zeroed in on machine interface and controls as well as the data at the end. So we simplified all the processes, including the extraction process, in order to make it so, now, just fast forwarding, I could train somebody who's never even seen an HPLC to use this CanID solution in, one day. So you're able to use high-level laboratory grade ISO, units that are used in ISO environments in your own operation. So we started with that, and we started a global partnership with Agilent Technologies. They're great. They've offered us a tremendous opportunity to work with them, and we can deploy these units anywhere in the world. The Agilent is, and so the software interfaces, it makes it simplified. We're now expanding into other hardware pieces other than potency, and our real focus is now really on the data analytics. So we're really becoming more universalized. This next quarter, we're going to be releasing a piece of software that can interface with any lab, any operation, basically utilizing COAs. So any of the COAs that come out there, we can aggregate and manage through our CanID solution. So you're basically able to take everything from the pesticide tests, COAs, all of those COAs can be managed through the CanID system. And we did this because we wanted to create parity between the commercial user, the labs, and even government compliance. Because at the end of the day, in order for the industry to really mature, it's going to have to create, focus on standardization. And so what we're trying to do is create a solution that is the lowest barrier to entry, the easiest to interface with, and the least impactful, negative impactful on an operation. So what could be easier than taking existing past COAs, drag and drop into a solution? We're using machine learning and AI to do that. And then so you can manage it. You can manage that data, current data that comes in, and future data you can utilize for the best applicable use for your operation, whether you're a cultivator, an extractor, a toll house, a lab that interfaces with seed to sale solutions. So that's kind of where we've got.
There's been a lot of discrepancy in even the lab, right? Or that COA. I could take my product from one lab to the next lab and get different product. How are you validating that data that you're putting into the system to be a quality test or quality, result?
So, yeah, well, that, Mandi, that really you have to rely on the expertise of the labs. If they're getting their ISO accreditation,
that's good. I mean,
they're going through a lot of process.
Yeah.
But there's still a lot of discrepancy there. We can't, we're not here to police labs. We're here to give them a data support solution. At the end of the day, it really is up to the labs to provide quality testing. The one thing that we've also done, assuming that the lab is going to provide, quality testing, which, we hope they do. We also have introduced the first commercially available blockchain, KSI blockchain data protection element. And that, I can actually pull that up. I think I can pull that up. Show everybody.
Yeah, I can show you. I can do it right here, actually.
Yeah, I just want to take off. Should have redacted something in there. But anyway, so over here is the COA, and what to the right. I want everybody to focus on the right. So what would happen is now you can go to the third party blockchain. It's a DoD level server blockchain, and you click on that, and then what happens is it opens up on the third party site, and then it says click on the QR code, the secondary QR code. It's also available as an app, so law enforcement, they'll be made aware of it. but then you can click on the QR code below and you can basically look at that data and have it correlate to the COA. So you know that nothing has been adulterated and changed. And this is going to be really important for, again, standardization in the industry, importing and exporting, law enforcement and compliance. This really, you don't need a special device to check this. You just need a phone. And so, hopefully we can mitigate a lot of headache and heartache with, shipments going across state lines, interstate, interstate commerce, where an officer, could go just check it and go, okay, this makes sense. This is valid. Be on your way. The group that we have partnered with on a global level is a group called, SICPA. And SICPA is an incredible group. They're great partners. They are a security group based out of Switzerland, 4th generation, so many, many, many years. They are predominantly known for providing the specialized ink for 90% of the world's banknotes. So the U.S. dollars, every bill has specialized ink provided by SICPA. They also do the international passport programs, and they provide these specialized tax stamps for liquor, tobacco, and a lot of the cannabis tax stamps for the states. So really great strategic partners. And hey, Cody, and that was really cool how it popped up. Gosh, we could give shout outs to everybody.
You can. In fact, Joanne and Bruce are both watching too. So shout out to Joanne and Bruce while they're out there. See that we've got quite a few viewers. So if you're watching, leave a comment. Let us know that you're here. We can definitely shout your name out and say.
And any questions we can answer. So right now, talking about SICPA, we are going around the world now and speaking with governments, because when you have a standardized platform, you're really able to accelerate and give the government comforture and the people that are participating in the industry comforture that they're able to follow. Hey, Justin. Yeah.
I agree, Justin. I was just going to ask for a tour of that Airstream. So it's on the list.
Really I could just turn the laptop and I'll show you. This is only a 27-footer. So one of the opportunities that's really presented itself with SICPA, SICPA actually is incredible. They have a track and trace seed to sale solution. They're finalizing right now. They're in Barbados, and we're in the process of talking to people in Barbados. We've been down to a number of Latin American countries, and all these countries are starting their new government legalized hemp and marijuana programs. So it's really neat to start right at ground level with them. And to date, we are the only test, track, trace, and taxation solution available in the industry. And so we've got a number of RFPs and RFIs we've submitted to here in the United States. And hey, Joanne. And really hoping that, national legalization, we're talking about marijuana now, but anyway, we'll get back to hemp. So hemp, this solution, this platform can be utilized at USDA level, so at the top level, and then different states. So the FS, the Farm Service Agency, FSAs. And so all that data can actually be aggregated through this to really streamline processes and make things easier for farmers and extractors. And even, this is another thing I'll share. We are actually talking with and exploring now, looking at the NIST quality control for hemp fiber. So we're going to take that as a roadmap, to be able to utilize hardware to and bring it into the same data platform, but for quality, fiber. So whatever those are, so tensile strength, things like that. Sorry, Mandy.
I want to talk about that. You're speaking my language right now, and of course,
I know. Fiber is the best.
Very much so.
So right now, this is a chemical data platform. It's the most readily used, but we are pulling everything together for quality of the industrial side. Right, that's a huge industry, and so we're migrating over to that as well to be able to offer those services.
I love it. Okay, well, I'm really excited. I had a couple of questions about concerns. As the industry has really shifted and grown, where do you really see concerns also shifting on behalf of the industry, especially related to the track and trace or the seed to shelf concerns?
Yeah.
Where do you see that movement, right?
So if we're, so talking about, I mean, this is a hemp focused show. So it's a very, I think that we've got the Farm Bill coming out that we've got to work, not real soon, but coming out pretty soon. And we've got to work on that. And I think what our industry's got to do is really separate, hey, Drew, what we really got to separate out is, defining what the hemp plant is being utilized for, because why does industrial hemp need to be chemically tested? Well, I mean, it does to make sure that we are, below that 0.3%, but some of the strains that are coming out are becoming very stabilized, and we'll be able to hopefully avoid that. Maybe I'm shooting myself in the foot, test.
But especially with harvest times, right? We're seeing a lot of adjustment in harvest times depending on the quality of the fiber, and that drastically impacts the even need for testing on the THC.
Yeah, we need to. I mean, and you want the farmers to be able to get the maximized yield, and so I think there's a couple of things. We need to raise that minimum threshold or maximum threshold to at least 1%. That's
at least.
At least, yeah, at least. And then commoditized hemp, which I would say would be the cannabinoid side. And then you got to look at the horticulture side. And the horticulture side defined as, of course, industrial, building, textiles, all of those other feedstock, protein.
Agriculture side?
Protein.
Agriculture or horticulture? Agriculture? Like big ag?
Well, the agriculture, ag and industrial applications for hemp, not the commoditized side where we're talking about for nutraceutical use and all that. So that I think we have to define in the next Farm Bill. And then once you're there, you can set up different rules, and different rules apply for the different applications. And I think that gets rid of a lot of the challenges that farmers that really just want to say, hey, I want to be in the industrial side. I want to be in building materials. I mean, I want to be in textiles. Let's remove a lot of those, hamstring scenarios from them. And then, but testing is still important because quality control is still, you have to be able to, and Drew just mentioned something there as well. It's like you have to have the data to define. Yep.
Yeah, that's exactly it is. And I think it's equally as difficult. I'm sorry that we must be lagging. I did not mean to cut you off. I apologize.
No, not at all. And I'm probably talking too much.
No, you're good. Yeah.
So the model we have, which we really zeroed in on, is there's many different pieces of hardware out there that can aggregate the data, right? The chemical data, the quality data, all of that. We sit, actually right under that. So what we do is we aggregate that data and put it into effective, usable data sets that are applicable across the whole spectrum of the industry, and including, again, on the government side. So when you can pull all that data and aggregate it in a platform, you can then, service the government side of it as well as, the commercial side. And when you've got standardization, like we're jumping around the different parts of the world, then what do? You're supporting international commerce, which helps everybody. Importing and exporting, you're creating that streamlined thing. So when things come through border and customs, you've got a standardized report that you can look to, reference, and recognize as it's authentic. And that's really where we're going.
You've kind of talked a little bit about what you have. Tell me about some of the movement that you've actually made in the industry. And I know a lot of it you haven't talked about much, but yeah, I'm curious if you want to share some of the recognition or some of the opportunities that you guys have been given because of this.
Thanks. Yeah, I've been trying to figure out how to. People say, toot your horn and stuff. We were really one of the biggest honors we got last October. I think I can share it. Was with one of the committees. Where do I pull this up? There we go. Sorry.
You're good.
Live video, everybody.
This is our internet. Well, and like I said, I was commenting on your view, so I'm excited.
Thank you. Is this showing up? I guess.
Let me come back here.
So SCOHO is a great group of folks, and SCOHO is comprised of a number of the hemp industry associations around the country. And we did a presentation with them and with SICPA, doing our whole test, track, trace solution. Again, that's the new version. We're going from seed to sale to something more formal. That's what we're using as far as our vernacular. And we really, we got a really honored referral from them as the BDAT, which is the best developed and available technology for the hemp industry to help it expand and to support it on a platform level. And that was one of the biggest honors we received this past year. It's some really great folks. I'm happy to share this. What's that?
Doing great things. I see a lot of names on there that I really, really like. Shout out to Amy and Joe, and yeah, absolutely. Really Andrew.
Just wonderful, wonderful people. So it's, again, we're really honored.
Did I lose you, Cree? Uh-oh, we lost him. Shoot. His internet is obviously not holding up very good. But one thing that I do want to really talk about or really highlight, and we'll see if he'll come back on here, is oh, hi Cree, you're back. Oh, good. Okay. Woohoo! That was fast.
I pressed the wrong button. Sorry, everybody.
That's awesome.
So
I was blaming it on the internet. It's okay.
Well, it's okay. This is again. This is live. This is live streaming. So where was it? What was I saying? The we're really excited. I think on the with the USDA and being able to try to put together a platform that everybody can utilize. I think we look at it almost like as a research tool. This tool, if you can aggregate the data and from the government compliance side, help there's ways to strip out personal and farming data. There's stuff that the USDA wants, and I understand farmers, this is their private information. They don't want to talk about a lot of deep stuff, but the stuff they have to share for compliance purposes, maybe that data could be aggregated in order to accelerate certain parts of the industry that it's not proprietary stuff that's just important as an aggregated amount of information that we can share and help with, help accelerate the industry. So, there's a lot of ways we can skin this tool to help the industry in general. So can I talk about Costa Rica for a second?
That's what I was just going to say. I was going to say, okay, now I want to hear about these events. I was just going to spoil it a little bit when you went off. Green,
So we were asked about a year ago to come down and present to the Ministry of Agriculture, Innovation and Technology for the government of Costa Rica. And so we presented to those groups, and then we actually presented to a couple of one of the main people, a woman named Doña Zolia. She's the equivalent of a congresswoman down there. She was actually the sponsor of the hemp and cannabis bill down there a number of years ago, and they brought it back. And one of the concerns they had was, how are we going to differentiate between the plants? How are we going to support the industries? And so a man named Dan O'Brien, who is the contract cultivation experiment, grower, was down there, and Dan reached out to us, and we started a conversation, and Dan's become a good friend since then. And again, we presented to the government down there a number of times. There's no formal notification on that yet, but Dan and I sat down and said, we're a couple of gringos. This country is beautiful. It's literally a 3.5 hour flight for me. It's quicker to get there than for me to go to New York or LA right now. And we said, what can we do in order to bring in experts that we have contacts with around the world in different areas of subject matter, and what could we do to introduce the country and celebrate the legalization? And just to back up a second, they legalized it. They had a vote, and then there's some what was I going to say? There's some a little bit of legislation tactics that were
Changes.
done. Yeah, changes. There was a
They
conservative
needed
group that said, yeah, they wanted to kick it back. They said, hey, we want to make sure that this is, constitutional. It went back, and then we are very confident that by the 15th, so next week, it will go through a vote, final vote, and will be passed for both medicinal marijuana or therapeutic marijuana and industrial hemp. And so we're very excited about that. And the event, so speeding up to this, the event, we are hosting an event in San Jose from the 27th to the 29th of January, so in a couple of weeks. And we have full support of the Ministry of Ag and Innovation and Technology, and I'm sure through upper level government people there too, because I don't think they could have supported it without it. So we're really excited, and it's going to be at this really big, cool venue called Parque Viva, and that's I guess a big Coca-Cola sponsored event space. And so you're going to be down there doing interviews, right?
Yes. And I have to make a comment really quick because Justin made a comment and he said, and Justin,
so that'll be
there. Justin's going to be there also, right? He said he's been working on his beach body, but it's not a Costa Rica beach body.
Yeah.
So Justin, you're awesome. I'm really excited to see you and have you down.
Well, and Justin, by the way, San Jose is smack dab in the middle of the country. So we're the ocean's another, this way, that. So anyway, so don't worry about that. Don't worry about the beach body, brother.
I still have a COVID body, so we're good.
It's going to be great. And so we've got some really great doctors from the Cannabis Clinicians organization. They're bringing in a bunch of doctors to talk about medical cannabis. So we're going to have a track with medical cannabis. We're also bringing in some really other great people in the hemp space. Andrew Bish, I believe, is going to come down. And with COVID going on, we're still juggling. We're getting flights booked, but as a backup, we'll also be setting up virtual in case people can't make it, because we really want to celebrate this incredible opportunity for Costa Rica. They got really hurt during the lack of tourism during COVID. So it's really a personal thing for Dan and I to want to do this and spend the time to put the event together. The website is, can I share that?
Yeah, please.
It's called The Cannabis Congress, I believe .net. Really, that's a good one. It's .com or .net. Both of them work. And you can see some of the doctors. We're adding more speakers daily. I'm not sure we're going to do it. What's that?
If people are interested in sponsoring or participating or putting a booth up, can you speak a little bit about the opportunity if they're not able to make it?
Yes.
This is what's really cool is we can still be represented and companies can still be represented down there even if without traveling necessarily.
Yeah. No, Mandi, thanks for bringing that up. So in having to deal with COVID, of course, we've all had to try to make different strategic, creative thoughts put together here. And what we've done in order to also support the local economy is we can set up a booth and have a spokesperson on site, printed banners. We're setting up a whole package where you can still have your company represented and support the event down there remotely. And so your spokesperson will be there. You guys can have a WhatsApp communication if people had questions about your product and or your equipment. There's still a lot of wonderful opportunity down there, and we've tried to open that up. The main focus of the event is really not an expo. It's an education and an introduction. This year, we're going to do, hey, welcome to the industry, folks. This is what you can expect, the different opportunities that will present themselves to you when the industry brings itself to Costa Rica this next year. So next year will be very different. We'll really open it up, but the vendor side, we're really making it very exclusive. It's really a lot of talks and a lot of education. And so really excited about that. Let's see. Yeah.
Robert just asked real quick, can you post the website? It's thecannabiscongress.net,
yes.
Where you'll be able to find the website right there, Robert. I hope that helps. Awesome. So what would you say the majority of your topics are? Obviously,
So
Andrew Bish and Dr. Uma are very, very diverse topics and different
yeah,
topics. I think it
yeah,
shows
so, yeah.
the diversity of the
So,
event,
so
right?
yeah, we've got two different stages set up so people can go back and forth. A lot of the crossover. So you've got hemp, and hey, Mark, we've got hemp and the medical side. So we've got industrial hemp and the medical, the therapeutic side. The Mark, to answer your question, the event center space that we have is it's approved for 12,000 attendees a day, but because of COVID, we knocked it down to 6,000. We don't know. It's the only event of its kind. It's right in downtown San Jose. We've got a lot of radio and TV that have just signed up in the last day. They're going to start doing a promotion. We're going to be launching press and PR just in the next 24 hours. We've had to balance a lot out because of, again, COVID and then the legality. We were supposed to have the event in November. We had to kick it back now in anticipation of the legalization coming in. We didn't want to do it if it wasn't going to be legalized. It would be, a little bit of a challenge. So there was a lot of juggling. So we're starting all PR initiatives in the next 24 hours. So very excited about that. Mark, I'd be happy with a few thousand people being able to come in and just talk about it. But I think we're going to have a really big turnout just because of the interest.
That's awesome. Yeah. Awesome. What are you most excited about? I mean, I think, like you said, you've got it close to your heart and what you're able to do for the community, and the I guess, right? The entire country, really. But
yeah, I think, first of all, the biggest honor is the fact that we're able to have the communication at that level and possibly kickstart an industry from a clean slate. We've had such a challenge here in the United States because the balkanization of every state had to do it their own way, which was very challenging. It's so challenging to set up a cohesiveness, which we all need to have in the industry in order to have it thrive. Consistency and standardization. So to go into a country where it's starting from scratch and have the opportunity to potentially support that's really exciting. The ability to bring in such great people that are experts, in our field, some of the top experts in our field, some of the most influential people in our field to come down. That's a huge honor. And then for those people to agree to come down.
And I think what you're doing too is you're breeding the conversation within the industry, right? It's another opportunity to get people with different networks around the same table to have a discussion that we're all moving this together. We're moving forward together. It's pretty exciting.
Absolutely. And again, we're here in the States, and we, the ability to really help nurture these other countries that are coming on board. And I think we're going to learn a lot from some of the other countries that are coming on board too. There's a lot of initiative. Justin just said so. And I'm
looking at staying longer. I'm looking at hotel rooms, and yes, I may not come back. I may just stay down there with Dan and Madison.
It's
the word out.
Yeah, it's a beautiful place. I had a chance to again go down there before. The big agricultural areas is on the west coast side, and it's called Costa. It's an agricultural region. Liberia is the big city there. The airport, it's an international airport right there. That is where we foresee the majority of a lot of the farming to occur in that area. A couple things Dan and I are working on is there's a large hydroponic retailer here based in the United States that's interested in supporting. I'm not able to mention their name yet, but they're really interested in moving down there, and we've been having ongoing communications with them because when you have the new industry startup, you're starting from scratch. This country's not set up for the different equipment that you need. So we're working on that level. There's also a beautiful incubator that Dan and I have been pulling together down there, and that's in Costa. And there are these beautiful little 1,800 square foot condos, brand new, that we'll be able to bring in companies that want to come in from outside of Costa Rica and incubate them. And then one of the other things we're doing is building a free trade zone about 30 minutes from there. So as they incubate, figure out what they want to do, find the right people, we'll be able to migrate them over to the industrial park that we're putting together right next to the airport. So there's a lot of really big initiatives that we're working on down there. And, anybody who's
support.
Yeah,
you've got a lot of government support, and I think that's something maybe to speak to. I know we probably touched on it a little bit, but this isn't just an event that we're hosting in our local community, right? You have some influence and some real support from ground up that's very foundational to the success. So, I give you guys credit too. Done a great job.
Yeah. Thanks, Mandi. Yeah, it's again, it's very humbling. We're just very excited. It's exciting to be part of something right at the beginning point. I know they tried to do it a couple of years ago, and we're just really, really excited and really honored to have this opportunity.
Very, very, very cool. Okay, so into future, right? Where do you see opportunity really unfolding as far as verticals of opportunity down there? I hear often, or people will say, I actually had somebody call me just yesterday and say, out of all these different verticals, where do you see biggest opportunity, both for long-term and immediate?
Sure. So regarding hemp, I think that, Costa Rica is it's only 5 million people. The population is, they'll be able to support a couple of brands internally, but I think the real opportunity for Costa Rica and other, Latin American regional countries will be in the low cost production side of things for export, and even sub-processing to then export to some groups that want to do final processing here in the United States. So, China is the biggest competitor for everybody. And I think that if we can actually, and here, let me back up too. It's such a close proximity to the States that I could see a lot of companies want to straddle the opportunity and supplement supply. The price to grow product down there will be a lot less, but the restrictions, they're going to be they're very environmentally conscious. So there might be higher restrictions on growth practices down there. Which
is really interesting, because the majority of what I hear, Cree, is that interest. The benefit to hemp is just that, the environmental benefits, the regenerative agriculture, moving away from till to no-till practices. And so I would imagine that that's even more exciting, that opportunity, you can maintain competitiveness and still be, carbon is carbon, whether it's created there or here, right? Yeah.
You're right. You're absolutely right. And it's the other thing though is we've got to find some really good, and I know there's really good genetics that are good for those tropical regions too. You've got to find those genetics. And then the building, there's different building. I think who was I talking to the other day? Talking about the building. Was that you? Where it's like, hemp blocks that are really, really thick in some parts of the world, cooler climates won't work. You have to have thinner panels so they don't, there's a lot of stuff there. So I think it'll be very regionalized in the specificity of products, but it's a wide open opportunity. The economy is open. We'll be open to working with companies coming in on them. Yeah. So just tremendous opportunities. I believe.
On both sides. Well, and I want to bring this back to what you've been doing and working so hard to build for the industry, right? Is the opportunity that a country in whole has to really advance their industry with more comfort, more security about what's what, right? So what does that look like? Can you kind of walk through without a lot of sharing all your detail, but what does that look like really being involved on the government side compared to the private sector? And how does that really, how is that going to play out potentially?
Sure. No, great question. So the CanID solution, well, first of all, it's the same platform for a commercial user as it would be for a government to be able to utilize that solution and all the data. So it's all standardized. And I think so we had to start out in the commercial sector to prove out the concept and the software, that was first because the commercial sector is the most challenging, right? There's really, hey, I need this help. It's, you're dealing with entrepreneurs. And so you really have to be on your game, and you really have to develop out a solution that has to work for the commercial sector. That's who we answer to initially. Now, once we prove that out, then we can go say to the government, say, look, we've got this solution. It's proved out. We're a decentralized data aggregator and an analysis solution. So that took a lot of work. I mean, to be able to come up with a set of SOPs that have very low machine-to-machine variance. So we've got, we are the only first approved potency testing solution for the Kingdom of Thailand. So we're at a hospital in Thailand. And so you compare those, the machine-to-machine variance from our Thailand to our Texas research lab to clients in Oregon, we've got very low machine-to-machine variance, which is really exciting because a lot of these, these people are not all of them are lab groups. So there's commercial users. So we had to prove that out. And once we had that, we can dial in, the optimization thereof to, we use machine learning and artificial intelligence to constantly look at the machines and what they're doing. And again, we're not a hardware company. You have the hardware is a necessary element of the data aggregation. You need to do that, the chemical testing or the tensile strength testing and all that. But you still have to interface, and you have to learn what the points of interface are in order to become a solutions provider on the data and analytics side. But the government side's pretty neat. So again, if you go in to a government that's brand new with this, you have the ability to really hit the ground running and help them accelerate and get through some of the challenges that we've had here, which have kind of stalled a couple of times. And so
what's really cool about where you sit in this opportunity with Costa Rica, or where we all sit, right, is we've been through some of the pitfalls that we don't have to carry over to them, or to us there, I guess, right? We have this opportunity to start with a leg up. And
absolutely. And again, they're that's an agricultural country. They're going to have they might even have some really neat, things to teach us as well. But yeah, it's been great. The people down there are lovely people. Just, their whole existence is, good life, good living. That's what their focus is. And I'm glad that they're going to be able to have and participate in an economy building crop, and they'll be able to do it right. They'll be able to do animal feed, I believe, out the gate. Protein, growing seed for protein. I mean, all these different aspects of the industry that
animal feed's huge.
We're still fighting here. You know what?
Yeah, that's a huge one. That opens a market. I mean, we've all talked about the opportunity and the hindrance that we have here in the U.S. to not being able to provide the feed, to provide the market or that vertical of the market. That's exciting. Very, very exciting.
And I hope, it's coming here. It will. It's practical. Now, I don't know if that means anything, because something that's practical doesn't always get pushed through, but anyway, sorry.
Good point. But you're right. There's enough emerging data. There's already been data, but then there's even more coming up that it makes it hard to say no to it. Right. To bring it onward.
Are you talking about animal feed? Like, or for human consumption too? Yeah. I mean, I've been following the chicken, the poultry reports that are coming out. And so, I mean, you feed a very inexpensive, seed to the chickens. And I mean, the increase in the egg size, the omegas, I'm assuming the meat, I haven't done it yet, but I was interested in getting chickens here. To my wife's chagrin, she's like, chickens. No, but I grew up with chickens, so it can be kind of cool. But I'm excited to try that.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
And then I'll say I also got an email today, and I can't mention the university's name, but a university actually asked, "Hey, Pura Vida." Yes, Pura Vida. somebody mentioned to me that this is a university, and they're like, hey, we're going to be doing some feed to beef steer, and we wanted to see if you could do blood checking on their blood to see some of the analytes in the blood processing. And that's not really our bailiwick. We're going to have to put them somewhere else. But what a neat thing that people are thinking about that and starting to do research on, impact to the livestock's, systems and seeing where they're at. So a lot of good stuff. It's so an industry like this where everybody, the creativity that you see every single day. Yes.
It's my most exciting part. The people that we're around are no dummies. Like their innovation and brilliance. It's the most exciting. Yeah, like I say, the people are my most exciting part or favorite part of this industry.
And the personalities. I mean, I'll throw some names out there, like Rusty and Patrick and Drew and all these great people and Joe and
yeah.
I mean, everybody just. My internet stalled again.
No, you're good. I can hear you cut out a little bit, but you're good.
But I'm just trying to think of some other stuff.
I've got a question for you. Well, I want to talk about your Airstream and your lab getting into this, and what the value is, and
Okay, well, this is a mobile office, but it does have a place to stay here. These, I got it 4 years ago when we were doing a lot of research initially up in Massachusetts with a friend of mine, Chris Udella, who owns Roverde Labs, and Chris is a really great friend, incredible cannabis scientist, and so I've got family in Connecticut. Texas summers are hot, y'all. Everybody who lives here knows. So it wasn't a hard sell to the family, and I took my wife and my little girl, and we went up to Connecticut, drove all across the country, and we stayed in Connecticut. I was able to work out of here because we parked at one of my cousin's farms, and we stayed up there, and it was great. And then I would go up to Massachusetts, a couple times a week, and then we drove all the way out to California, Santa Barbara. My friend Graham Farr has Glass House Farms, so I was doing some stuff out there with Glass House, and we took the Airstream out. It's great. It's if somebody's not used to RV living or anything, it's really convenient. These are great, and if you can do it right with the tax, you can almost write the whole thing off as an office, and so it's been great. I was thinking of trying to take it down to Costa Rica, but I after being in some of the roads, I don't think so.
You'll end up leaving it there is what will end up happening.
Yeah, right, somewhere. But we've taken this to MJ BizCon a couple of times. We set up our testing lab here, and we brought people in, and it's been a wonderful, a tool to be able to go around. If I really had a dream that I could do, I would buy like 20 of these and deploy them all over the country, and start using them for research and going out to farms, and it might be. There you go.
Pick me.
Yeah.
That's what I want to do. I want to hit these farms, and I'll put this out there to anybody that's listening. I would love to tour and visit your facility and interview and broadcast and help promote what you're doing, and really educate these people watching, people within our network, right? And connect people with who's who and who's doing what. So I'm putting it out there. That's what I'll be out doing this year.
And they've got a little one called the Bambi.
Okay.
Airstream, and it's really it's for one person, and that is something you could just cruise around with, feel comfortable and safe in, and it's a really cool size. It's like 15 feet or something like that. It's really cool.
Hey.
But anyway,
that's awesome.
We're pitching Airstream. We should ask them for some kind of sponsorship. But
Well,
no,
about your lab and how you use it. I just think it's awesome and what a great idea and innovative, and yeah, it's very, very cool.
yeah. But we're, again, we're really excited, to have a company that you start and see where it goes and migrates, and really identifying where the challenges are and then how you can support those. It's been a real, it's a challenge, but it's you gotta. The industry's moving so fast. You're trying to find how you can come up with a solution that's got longevity of value and the ability to interface. And I think we finally found our spot, and that is really as a universal data aggregator and then a presenter. And analytics is really where things can go to accelerate best practices in the industry. So just again, it's an honor to be able to be on your show. I've watched you so many times, and just seen so many incredible people on the show. So thanks for
adding you to the list for sure. And not with intention of waiting this long. You and I've been trying to connect for a while, so I'm really glad that we finally got to you. You're busy, but okay, I've got another question. You mentioned a number of times, and I hear it all the time, that the need for collaboration to bring this together, right? Mm-hmm. Tell me what that looks like. What do you really suggest? How do we really amplify this year the collaboration within the industry, especially with so many dominant groups doing great things?
Yeah. Let's see. Well, first of all, I'll just pull it back to us. Like for us, yeah. So I do want to explain. So one thing, we're not our focus isn't being on an analytical lab. We have an analytical lab here in Texas that's our research lab, and we do provide analytical testing to the industry, and it's helped us really dial in the solution. But a lot of labs, especially analytical labs, thought of us as, oh, that's another lab, it's a competitor. We're not. We're an analytical data solution to help these labs really streamline processes and interface with government on that level, and also with their clients. Creates a common language, because if we've got a solution at one of their clients using it for QA QC, what does this do? Well, if they have a CAN-ID system or the software, they can really create a common language and actually expand on their opportunities. Now, industry as a whole, I wanted to get that out there. But industry as a whole,
I actually really like what you said, because really we're talking about finding a solution that provides a way for people to bridge that gap and come together. It's not boasting about who's best or mine is this. It's what can we collectively do together? And yeah, you created a tool to do that. It's awesome.
No, thank you. And it's that's what I want really the labs to understand. We're a solution for everybody, and at all levels, B2C, B2G, B2B, all of that. But as an industry as a whole, there's a lot of great shows. Here's one. There's a lot of great shows out there. And I think like you're doing something at a NOCO, and you're going to do like a separate track at these shows. I think we need more of those. I think we need more of the industry sit down, round table, whiteboard, everybody getting a chance to come up and talk and just say, here, this is my idea. I think we need more of those elements. I would love to sponsor something down here at a ranch here in Texas and just have everybody come in. I know they had a really great show here again in Austin recently too, but I think sorry.
You're right when you say, I agree with you. I'm validating what you say in the sense of really bringing those stakeholders together from each of those different verticals. Like you said, the one in Austin was fabulous, but it was very vertically focused on the construction and building side, which was great, right? It's exactly what they needed. But I do think that and I would love to partake and help you in that, bringing the masterminds together.
Yeah, no. And then, and who do you, there's so many great people. So you'd have to kind of send out the invitation, see who responded. And I think you do have to maybe have a general session where everybody just gets to introduce each other, themselves to each other. And then you do talk about general industry solutions, which, there's some great groups out there already. Like your group, Jeff Whaling, Hemp Industry Association, all these.
The list is long, yeah.
The list is long, but it's like, what do you do when is there another group that invites all these groups together without being an official group to have a round table on a general level? And then, of course, you break out and do your specific industry segments, because then you can get real work done at a ground level. And anyway.
Well, and I think it comes down so much away from the operations and so much to the, behavior and the psychology of how do we work together? What is in this? And I think, Andrew made a really good point. We're at the beginning of an industry, and there's no sense in fighting over the industry when we're building it. There's so much that exists, but we are in business. And so understanding that that's that fine line, and bringing it.
And I'll say something, I'll probably get slapped, but when we were out in California, meeting of the minds, actually, absolutely. When I was out in California, this was 7, 8, 9 years ago, working in, growing for collectors and patients, all the growers in the area shared genetics. We all talked about stuff. Everybody got together. It was very communal. Everybody helped each other out. And it's sad, because then all the bankers, the investment bankers, the vulture capitalists, everybody in them.
Vulture. That was well said.
They all created the main focuses on money, which, we're in business. Money is the focus. That's where your success is going to come from professionally. But there's got to be a balance. And I saw a little bit of this starting to happen in the hemp industry too. A lot of people are coming in from other sectors, and they're very competitive. There's people from oil and gas space coming in, outliers. And, we're going to do this, and God bless them, but you can't push your way into this industry. The industry, stems with farmers. I mean, starts right at the truly below ground level with farmers. And if you don't recognize that community and that psychology and mindset of new farmers or multi-generational farmers, all you're going to do, we're going to have this, and that's why when you mentioned the psychological or the psychological connection behavior, it's we really do have to collaborate, and there's enough to go around. If we do this right, again, we have to have production facilities set up around the country. That needs to take the offtake to get the farmers to be able to make a living. That's the base, right? And that's how we start. And so I think we need to really support the production facilities and the people that are really going to do that. We have an ability to really do incredible in the textile industry. And it doesn't even necessarily just have to be in North Carolina. There's new technologies with hemp textiles that we can start deploying textile and spinning mills as well. So, really, it's, again, you're starting with a great group of people. Farmers are just good people to start with.
Okay, so I'm really excited. This next year, we haven't announced this very much, so I'm just going to put a blurb. I know some of you on our call yesterday heard this, but we are launching national seed trials next year, or this year. We started last year. It's this year now. We're into the new year. But I'm really excited about it. It's very research focused. We're talking about, multiple varietals across multiple different regions in the United States, but really with the focus of creating that ground level, non-biased data, just like you said, that can be used and built on, for our farmers and for our processors and manufacturers to be able to secure those inputs and secure the supply chain. And so ours also.
Risk mitigation. Let's get a strain that can work. And to touch upon that, I mean, you and I talked before. So one of the data elements that we have with a partner is very granular weather and cultural weather impact data. So soil temperature, humidity. We have to talk about that, because that would then, if you get that baseline and say, oh, this crop or this strain was successful here with these data points, these weather data points, maybe like a 5% either side, which also be successful. You can measure that
in other regions or areas.
Yeah, and this weather solution can go back and historically look at your GPS coordinates on your farm and say, oh, this strain will work with. We could probably.
Is that satellite? Is that by satellite?
It's satellite and other weather mesh data solutions together. It's the largest Did I just say that? Mesh weather data solution in the world. I mean, they do stuff for all the airlines and all. It's just a great group that I work with. And so
let's talk.
We'll talk later. Yeah.
I want to talk about that for sure. But yeah, I encourage anybody to get involved. I think everything you're speaking about is exactly where, we're pushing is the data collection and bringing it together so that we can compare, the risk mitigation. And then of course the data on the back end, what we're able to do with that moving forward with all the innovation that's coming. And it's pretty exciting. Well, we're at an hour already. I'm really excited. I know Dan's coming on next week, which I'm really excited about to talk more about.
You'll love Dan. He is one of the greatest people. And I mean, his heart is truly into Costa Rica. He's a gringo from Houston that moved down there 5 years ago. And he's a wonderful guy. So smart. And he's a great business partner.
He's a hustler. Man, you guys are getting lots done and it's pretty exciting. Well, I'm really excited to come down. I encourage everybody else to please contact Dan and his team. And I saw that there were a couple of others that are actively supporting what you're doing, whether having a booth and setting it up and providing an opportunity to support the event and really put your name out there, or actually coming down. The handshake and the business that's done face-to-face is always a level above. And so I really encourage everybody to get involved. But Cree, thank you very, very much for joining, and everybody else, thank you for participating. Later this afternoon, we do have an education series that you can find on our website, globalhempassociation.org. We get about 50 to 100 people that log in. It's Q&A format, and today will be an awesome series. So I encourage you guys to join. Other than that, Cree, thank you very much. And thank you everybody for listening today. It was a great group. Okay. Thank you guys. See you later.
Thank you so much. Take care.